to the road to growth, success of an entrepreneur.
We've raised the bar.
Learn firsthand from successful business owners and create your own path to success.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
It's time to hit the road to growth with team lead of the Enriquez Group, Realtor Vinny.
How you Road to Growth listeners. Today I have Johanna Hunt. She is a social media expert. So if you're a business, you probably need to get away from the yellow pages and get onto social media if you haven't already. And Johanna Hunt is the person for you. I mean, on this podcast, we really focus on the individual's journey. And I think people listening, though, that are working on their own journey of social media and things like that, this could be helpful to hear where she's coming from and maybe the nuggets that she's kind of overcame. But walk us through, Johanna, kind of what you do and who you are.
Yeah, thank you for having me. First of all, I love seeing that intro too, with San Diego in the background. It's been like a lifetime since I lived there, but I was spending a lot of time there before, the planes have been grounded. So I came in, come from an entrepreneurial background. I had a business in the event marketing industry for about 15 years. And I worked contract to contract. I grew up, I was born in Austria and I grew up in California. So my mom and dad and I would travel back and forth quite a bit. And all of my family are business owners, but they really have more of like a self-employed business background. And so I watched them make a lot of sacrifices, trading time for money, saving up for these trips and then having to take time off and then having to rebuild their client bases and just this constant on and off in their business. And so, when I got into the entrepreneurial world, I started reading a lot of books about cash flow quadrant and books about passive income, residual income. And so network marketing came across my desk a few different times at different networking events. And I was really intrigued by this like turnkey system business model. But it wasn't, I left the event industry to be a mom, to be a stay-at-home mom. And so that was kind of what pushed me into doing something different, kind of out of my comfort zone, and got me into direct sales. But I wasn't really a fan of the way direct sales was being promoted to me, like as this e-commerce business, but nobody was building it online. It was all this, belly to belly, old school traditional marketing. And I went to school for marketing and I'm like, I need to figure this out, because I had a background in branding, helping brands through experiences and event marketing. And so I went online looking for ways to just promote myself and to build my business around promoting myself as the front end offer. And that's when I started to really expand my knowledge of affiliate marketing and digital marketing and attraction marketing and these different methods and email marketing and all these really cool things people were doing. And it just opened my world to, wow, like talk about being able to step away from your business, work from anywhere, have time freedom, have financial security, not have a business that completely runs your life. And I'm big on, my slogan is work smart and play hard. I love to ski. I love to mountain bike. I'm a single mom. I've got 2 kids. The last thing I want to be doing is being chained to my desk, right? But I also love what I do. So how can I get my message out to more people? How can I help more people create that similar lifestyle, whatever their business is, and not be chained to a business? So that's really what my brand's all about.
So you said you were born in Austria?
Yeah.
Okay, so is your family first generation American, I guess?
So my dad's American. My parents live in California, in Northern California. Okay. Mom's Austrian, and then all of her family's Austrian. So we're kind of all spread out, and I'm in Canada. Okay. I'm the only one. I'm in Vancouver.
And when did you move from Austria to the U.S.?
I was about 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you, and I it probably is not firsthand. It's probably more so, I guess, visits back then or seeing your mom. Is there a different way that Austrians look at work life compared to Americans, or at least Canadians, I guess now?
Austrians are really good at doing things one way. And they've been doing it that way forever. But you know what? The thing I noticed about living over there, we went back 2017 to 2019. I was living over there. And the thing I noticed as an entrepreneur, like the train systems, the ski systems, the restaurant businesses, like everything has been exactly the same my entire life. And I turned 40 this year. And going back and forth, but it's systems. And they don't have a lot of like time freedom and leverage. They basically work around seasons. So they work like farmers in their entrepreneurship, right? And they pass it down generation to generation. And it's grilled in you from, my kids went to school there, and it was like, the ski industry is really, really important, the service industry. And so they kind of start to bring your children into that and almost train their brain to grow up to become, part of that community and live that lifestyle. And so they work really hard from about mid-November to April through the season, some of them 7 days a week, not having time for holidays or anything like that. But then they will take that money and they'll reinvest it in their business. And then they'll go on holiday and they'll build up, another room on their Airbnb or an extension to their restaurant. And they're always reinvesting their money back in. So it's interesting to see. But the thing I love too is even though they work 7 days a week, they always take time off in the middle of the day to rest. And there's not this feeling of like hustle bustle, always being busy. There's this downtime. And so coming back to North America in 2019, I've implemented that into my business: meditation, naps, walks, taking days off to go skiing, really getting more life balance. So yeah, I observed a lot of different things about kind of just the way they integrate their work into their life.
So taking away two things. So you said that at a young age, they start training the children to kind of follow in the parents' footsteps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like they go into ski club. They have a lot of like events with the Catholic Church. They they do a lot of events where they kind of involve the parents and the kids, but they have programs even for skiing. So, they make it really accessible for your children to sort of develop those skills because they want to bring them into that ski world. So for instance, all of the shops, if you're a local family, you just take your kids to the local shop in November, and they only charge you €1.10 per centimeter, and they fit your kids out for brand new skis, boots, poles. Like they make it super accessible for you to be part of that lifestyle.
So it's the lifestyle, and also I guess I guess your lifestyle, if you're working 7 days a week, is also what you're doing for work purposes.
Yeah.
Now, if the children are kind of following the footsteps, do you know what the success rate is for second generation, third generation? I had someone on here probably a couple weeks ago, and they had the United States, it's like 30% success rate. It's fairly low for second generation. I'm curious, because they train them at such a young age, if it's ingrained in them, there's more of a passion for it, because that seemed like one of the common denominators is really having a passion for what you do for the second generation.
It's funny, for me, I'm a total rebel. So I just didn't want to do what like my whole family was doing. Like I've got my own thing my own drum that I beat to. And my kids are very much the same way. If you ask my daughter about how her experience was in Austria, she's like, "Oh, I loved it, but they're so bossy." That's my 9-year-old. And we had a hard time like doing this whole cookie cutter thing. And I have a huge respect for it. I like it. But I'm surprised more people don't sort of rebel against it, and it seems like maybe it's because it's a small village and it's a way of life. And if you don't know different, you just don't know different. So that's what you do. You don't know that there's something outside of it. Like, Facebook isn't a big thing. Social media isn't big there. We were more on WhatsApp. We had little yoga communities. There wasn't like a yoga studio. It was a WhatsApp group. And then, on a Saturday or Sunday, somebody would drop a message and be like, "Let's go do yoga on so-and-so's deck." So, I appreciate that lifestyle in a sense, because I feel like in North America, it's so busy. It's all about like more. And I like that simplicity. Like I felt very in a flow when I was there, but it was also a little bit too slow paced for me. So, but I think because they're practicing it, like to answer your question, because that's what they know, and they practice it and they do it repetitively. Like, we all know to be an expert at anything, it's said 10,000 hours, right? And the thing I noticed too that I really admired is that whatever I was doing, people really take pride in their work. Like I remember hopping on a ski bus and like this huge storm, and this guy I could see the driver, like he just seemed so Like he felt so proud of what he does and so powerful in how he was navigating through this storm, and they greet you, they take their business very professionally, very seriously. And I love that, because I find in North America, you have people who they do it because it's a job, but they don't love it, and they don't necessarily take pride in it, And there, it doesn't matter what their role is. There's a real pride about what they do, and I really like that.
Well, for yourself, you've been able to build your business, your marketing business, because it allows you to live the life that you want to live, right?
Yeah.
Now, being that you kind of had a step out of, I guess, almost your comfort zone, because your parents, even though they had an entrepreneur mindset, they weren't technically entrepreneurs, correct?
Yeah. So my dad's in real estate, and my mom is a hairstylist.
Okay.
So, I mean, yes, it is entrepreneurial, but it is also service-based, right? And it depends on the direction you take your business. But they really kept it more of being self-employed. They didn't expand into, developing a business. For instance, like I think of, hairstylists or owning the salon. A realtor or owning the real estate business, right? Or, as a realtor, a lot of people now are developing multiple streams of income with real estate, coaching real estate, things like that.
Yeah.
So they were service-based, client-based. And when they stepped away from their business, there wasn't an income coming in. So really hard to take their finger off the pulse.
They didn't build something bigger than themselves. If they stop working, basically no income comes through. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that can be difficult. I actually had someone on one of my very first podcasts with a hair salon person, and their whole model was actually you had 3 tiers to the hairstylist. Okay. The first tier was the new person, and if you got a haircut from them, it'd be this cost. If it was, they would actually make less money though on that one. The next one was higher cost if you used them, and they would get more money. The third one was the highest cost and make more money. But during the third tier, if you made it to the third tier as a hair salon expert, they would set you up with an accountant so you can build your own business under their brand.
That's awesome. I mean, why not empower people to take a bigger step into something? Like that's the thing I love about network marketing. A lot of people ask me, they're like, well, why don't you sell Ferraris? You're great at sales. Or why aren't you in real estate? Or all of those things are great. And I think I'd be great at them. Yeah. But for me, what I love about like network marketing, affiliate marketing is being able to bring somebody in who has zero background in business or hasn't gone to school or doesn't have a lot of resources, which is where I was at when I started, and to be able to empower them with the tools to move up. And my goal with teaching somebody network marketing is not to stop at network marketing, but to develop a brand where you can then develop other streams of income. You can go into affiliate marketing, you can create courses, you can become a coach, you can run an Airbnb on the side, or, like it's not about a lot of direct sales network marketing. They're like, oh, you have to do this one thing. You got to focus on this and promote us. And I mean, for me, I started out that way in network marketing. And then I moved into, I ran our family Airbnb in Europe. I've got 4 apartments there. And then I expanded into affiliate, and then I built my own course. I built a few mini courses, tested it out, and I'm moving into a little bit of coaching. And just because it's been a request, it's been a need that people have. And I love having that flexibility to kind of be inspired to take my business in any direction. And, to think of my brand is the same. I'm never going to offer something that's completely different, but why not have multiple offers that are really congruent? So you have different things that serve different people's needs. It's the same audience, but maybe somebody has more money to invest. Maybe somebody doesn't have as much to invest. So why not offer them a lower price point rather than leave them hanging?
What's your process of building new courses, building new, I guess, offers for clientele? Pricing of what you can charge from clientele to one clientele can be very difficult. I've talked to a lot of different coaches, business owners, and them trying to define what their price is for their product is kind of a difficult balance. And you're talking about that you have multiple different offers that you put out there. Mm-hmm. What's your way of putting those together, those different offers? Yeah,
it's interesting. Pricing has never been my forte. So because I know a lot of different coaches and entrepreneurs, and I've been on podcasts, and I love to collaborate and network with other entrepreneurs. So I have kind of like my strategic alliances, so to speak, where it's open for us to talk amongst one another and say what's working and what's not. So that's typically what I do now. But before I had that sort of network, I would just kind of research what people are offering in the industry and kind of look at like, who are my competitors? What are they offering? What's their sort of price points? And then strategically place myself based on my level of experience, the level of value that I'm offering. And then I test it, So, I mean, I've created stuff everywhere from like $7 to $2.97 to like $14.97. And I try to kind of have different price points. One, I want people to have different opportunities, regardless of how much finances they have or resources they have to invest. But at the same time, I want to work people up a scale, right? So I start with my free offer, which leads into my tripwire, which leads into my next offer, all through my email systems. And the opportunity to work with me like as an affiliate and, coach for free, basically, with sweat equity, as I call it. But I just test things. I've put offers out where I've put it out for $27 as like a mini upsell. And then I'll tweak the different things about it, like the copy or, the offer itself. And if it's not selling, I'll bring it down to $11 and see if it's the price point that's the difference. So it's a lot of testing.
How do you define a product not selling, maybe not giving enough time on the market? I mean, how do you define that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I'm really consistent with my marketing. So I know that being consistent with my marketing, I know how much my email list is growing. And then I can see how many people are joining my list and how many people are taking action on certain products and how many people aren't. So, something I've actually started doing recently, because I've been growing my Facebook group and growing more of like a really intimate community of people, I've started putting things out for free. Like I ran a 5-day attraction marketing challenge and I put it out for free and I promoted it for about 10 days because you want to have like a little sense of urgency. You don't want to put it too far out. You want people to take action. And so I developed the course and it was so good. I'm like, I need to package this. Like I had just so much feedback. I had great testimonials. People were getting results in those 5 days. And so I decided to package it and, I set it up, sent it out. And like within the first day I had sales on it. So that's something that I've just started doing is allowing my community to kind of tell me what they need. Because I'm developing more of that like trust and it's not that, it's more the communication. I've had the trust, but it's developing more of a conversation inside of Facebook groups where people feel comfortable to speak up and have more intimate conversations and ask more questions. And that's killing lots of birds with one stone. You've got content, you've got engagement, you're building community, you're giving people what they need, what they want. And so, and if they're testing it and giving you great feedback, other people are going to need that too. So I've got a bit of a plan to sort of, I've got different challenges that I'd like to roll out each month, helps build up my Facebook group. People get to have it for free, and then it goes into a package.
What do you think from the point that you are now to starting your business has been like one of the most difficult things to accomplish, or something you wish you maybe learned more from or learned at earlier?
Yeah, probably life.
Okay.
I started my business online when I had a 2-month-old baby. I didn't have family around. We were struggling financially. Like we were facing possible bankruptcy. My ex-husband was working 6 days a week. Like we both had health issues. It was really challenging. There was a lot of my kid didn't nap ever. I had to like wriggle out of my robe in bed to kind of escape her. She's still like that. She's 9 and she still loves to cuddle. So yeah, I built my business around being a mom and, watching YouTube videos when she was napping for 20 minutes, listening to podcasts in the car. Like I was doing a home business, or I had the home business model too, right? So I wasn't online yet. I was trying to learn the online stuff, but I was also traveling 3 hours to go to a trade show or doing home parties nights and weekends, and then learning this stuff in between and trying to transfer those skills because I needed the money. So, it's challenging when you have low resources for time and money. You have a vision that nobody else can see but you. you don't have a lot of support around. And so you just, you have to make it work. You just have to do whatever it takes. And so, yeah, there was a lot of, I didn't see them as sacrifices. I saw them as investments, but that's how a lot of people see it. And I think most people, the reason they don't have success is because they're not willing to do whatever it takes in order to create that, right? And to figure it out. So I would say that, and, as life progressed, like we had other challenges, and we moved and we separated and divorced, and I moved back to Canada. And I mean, there was a lot of good stuff. Like my kids and I traveled 3 months around Europe through 7 countries. And, but the thing I've realized is like your business just doesn't care about your feelings. Your goals don't care about your feelings. And so it's one of those things you just have to pull your big girl pants up and not take things personally. And yeah.
I think one of the things that have been very beneficial to most entrepreneurs has really been that strong support system, be it a Facebook group, be it a couple of the same field. When you were going through that, I guess, close to bankruptcy with your 2-month-old and your husband, I mean, was he your rock? Did you have other support around you? Who were you talking to? Like, I mean, who were you bouncing ideas off of? What was going on there?
It's interesting. Like I didn't have that. I had about 200 Facebook friends when I started, and none of them were entrepreneurs. Like I came from the ski world, ski bum world. Lots of friends who loved to travel, lots of friends who, were smart and talented, but they didn't really understand what it was I was doing. And so, and I had kind of like the mom friend group, and they weren't really doing that thing either. Most of them were stay-at-home moms, and they had maternity leave and things like that. So it was challenging. And I used to actually go to like Vancouver Board of Trade events and meetups and things like that. Like I sought out business communities so I could get in a circle of people. But even a lot of the people I was meeting, they were still doing more of the offline thing. And I was looking for the online thing. And so I started to because I was looking at these YouTube videos and checking out different, like kind of looking for people in my industry who were doing what I wanted to do and seeking out mentorship in that way. And then watching a lot of videos to kind of build up a bit of a trust. And I never thought I would go online and invest money or time with people that I'd never met. But I watched their videos, I subscribed to their emails, I got on their lives. And when I would have a little bit of money to invest, I'd invest in like a mini course or something like that. It's funny actually, because one of the girls I worked directly with in my network marketing company was one of the first people I invested with, and I bought her blog course. And like 7 years later, we ended up in the same company, and with another woman and my personal mentor, and I'd invested in all of their products. And then an opportunity came up and we all ended up working together. So I only met all 3 of them like maybe a year and a half ago in LA. We went down to a meeting, but I've been working with them for years. So, I think you have to be resourceful, because a lot of people, I mean, you probably meet a lot of people have the same story. Like most of us, we don't grow up with these skills. Not all of us grow up with parents that we can model, the way they handle their finances, the way they handle their marriage, their business, things like that. And so you can use it as an excuse, or you can go out and find the people who have the life you want, have the business you want, and then model that.
Well, I had an artist on from LA, and one of the things he brought up was the idea that he's from the East Coast, and every time he goes back to that community, the people that he grew up with, he doesn't get the same level of support that he gets from the people that he surrounds himself with now. And he feels that sometimes it's not necessarily that they dislike him. It's just that, hey, you're reminding me that you got out of this place that I'm at, and I never did. And so you're kind of
100%.
So
we reflect and mirror our own emotions and project them onto other people. Yeah. So and oftentimes those people who can't support you, it's because really like you're challenging their belief systems. Yeah. You're challenging everything that they know about their lives and the whole paradigm of what they've built their life on. And that's very uncomfortable. And I see a lot of people, in our industry, they do it really poorly. Like I like to challenge people's belief systems from a place of love and a place of curiosity and asking questions and sharing parts of my journey. And so that I'm a human first and they can relate with me and not feel like there's a divide between, well, I figured it out, so I'm better than you, you know? And you do see a lot of that. You see those people who like, oh, I think it's, what is it? A lot of network marketers love to post this thing like, you know, staying in your job just over broke. I'm like, yeah, good. Insult somebody on what they love to do. That's a great way to build a relationship.
It's interesting you say something like that, because it's when you're in the field that you're in, and people listening right now are in a certain field, and you look at it, you go, okay, there's so many network marketers, or there's so many X, Y, and Z. There's so many, I mean, chiropractors, whatever field you're in, you see that, and you start seeing the little nuggets that people are constantly doing because they're all in your feed, they're all in your circle, and to the outside, sometimes I don't think the other people see those little nuggets that you're kind of relaying.
It's true. It's true. You do, because you see it repetitively, right? But yeah, there is, I mean, there's different ways, you know, there's modesty, there's arrogance, there's lots of different ways to position yourself. And some people can pull it off, right? You've got like Gary Vee, he can pull off arrogancy and get away with it.
Well, there's always, I mean, there's always going to be a niche market for whoever out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people in my profession that have a lot of flash and maybe not more sizzle than actual like steak kind of thing.
Yes.
Yet, there's people that love that and want to be part of that kind of that circle. For me, it's not my cup of tea, and I would never try to portray myself in that direction.
Yeah.
It's just there's always going to be someone that's going to want what you're selling if you speak loud enough, I guess.
It's true. You know, I'm a big fan of Seth Godin and his approach to marketing. And he says, you know, when you have like a niched market and a niched message, you're consistent with your messaging, and you show up and you're serving and you're a value, like, and you're a little bit, you know, there's a bit of polarity too. Like, you challenge people, but you do it in the right way. Like, the more targeted your message is, the more you're going to find your people. And then those people are going to share with their people. And wouldn't you rather have that than, you know, trying to reach a broad audience? Or like, I'm not sizzle and flash in network marketing. Like, I don't do this for money. I do this for freedom, and I'm lifestyle driven. And there's a big difference. And a lot of network marketers, you know, they love to flash or even affiliate marketers, they love to flash their Ferraris and all these other things. And for me, that's not where my lifestyle's at. So I attract very different people to my business than those people. And I don't blast network marketing. I blast personal branding, lifestyle, personal development, you know, high performance, social media skills, things like that. That's how I position it. And I like multiple offers. Like, I like to attract entrepreneurs who are like me. They want a lifestyle. They want to come from a more modest approach. They want to educate and inspire people. And so the more I'm clear on my message and my content is really consistent and congruent with that, I'm going to keep attracting those people. And that's why I'm such a fan of personal branding and really putting yourself out there, like, not just your business life, but also your personal life. Like, what are your beliefs? What are your perspectives?
Well, and I think the idea from coming from abundance and scarcity, right, is when you're first starting whatever field you're in, right, you want any kind of client you can get. But once so if you say, if I post this, if I put that out there, I might offend one person, or I might sway one person away from using me. I don't want to do that, because I want to make sure that I can get that person. But once you come from that idea that I can switch over from scarcity to abundance and say, hey, this is who I am, like it or don't like it, that's an empowering thing for any entrepreneur, any business owner out there.
Yeah, you have to come from a place of abundance. Like, you know, the thing I love about my mentor too is I use those words a lot in my dialogue, and he's the kind of person, he will interview other leaders and network marketers, and he'll have them come in and train our team. A lot of people in network marketing have a scarcity mindset. Their mindset is, I'm not going to let this leader in front of my audience. They're going to take my people. And, you know, and I mean, every industry has cutthroat, right? And when you come from that abundance, though, knowing that there's enough pie to go around, you'll find your people. There's new people being born every day, new people turning 18 every day. There is no saturated market. Like, I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in this, like, this is now, you've got to do this now, ground floor type of thing. You know, you can start now. And I think that intimidates a lot of people too with social media. They think to themselves, well, so many people in my industry and they're on social media and they're already doing this. Yeah, but they're not you. So they don't think the way you do. They don't deliver the message the way you do. They don't have the same story that you do. So people aren't going to relate to everybody. And that's why I really like promote bringing in a bit of that personality, that personal aspect, and not just being all business, because that's really what differentiates you, right? And I mean, if you were at a networking event, you wouldn't just be talking business, you'd also be talking fun, and you'd be, doing life, and you'd be finding people who you want to be around with, who have the same energy. So you got to bring that into the online world too.
And the stuff that you put out there, I mean, you never know who's looking at it. And some people might not like it or comment on it or anything like that. But later, a week, 2 months, whatever it might be down the road, go, hey, I saw that piece you put out there. And I just thought that was a great piece.
It's true. It's true. You'd be surprised how many happy birthday messages I send, where people will come back and say, you know what, I love all your videos. And I had no idea they were watching my videos.
It's a kind of a nice little pat on the back. I love it when those happen.
Yeah.
How did you find out the right mentor? I know there's a lot of coaches, a lot of mentors out there, and kind of weeding through who's right for you is, I think, a difficult decision for most people.
Yeah.
Right? So how did you know that you found the right person?
Well, I mean, you never know for sure. But I had a list of what I wanted. I think business is a lot like dating, because it's a relationship business, right? Like, you know what you're looking for, and you know the type of person you are, and just finding that alignment. And so I had a list of wanting to, somebody who had the lifestyle that I had, somebody who had done the work, who wasn't trying to blow, smoke and mirrors, but was really like, I love that honest approach that, this industry is awesome, but it also has a lot of things that aren't awesome about it. And to be able to address those things with clarity and humor, and kind of put it out there and look at like, how can we improve it? I love that. And then I was looking for somebody, who was adaptable and entrepreneurial, in the sense of, okay, if this business was to shut down, or social media was to change, or something happened to Facebook, I want to know that I'm partnering up with people who will be able to adapt if things are challenging. And we've been through that, right? We adapted. We had 300% growth in 2020 when a lot of businesses were struggling. We adapted. We looked at the needs of our customers, the needs of our social marketers, and we implemented the changes to continue to have growth. And then, it's alignment with, products, the way you want to work. Like, systems is really important to me. So I looked at different leaders and what kind of systems they had, and the way I wanted to build my business, because I don't want to be glued to social media. I want people who believe in technology and leverage, but they're still very hands-on in the relationship building, and, being personal, things like that. And then people who are fun, people who have a good sense of humor, vibe with their energy, that sort of thing. And you can pick that up pretty quickly. So, I mean, there might be lots of other great mentors out there, but I think it comes down to timing too, right? When you're looking for it and you know what you want, and then those people just kind of present themselves in your lives. You just have to take the opportunity. And I've had a few mentors in the past that weren't the best matches for me, and I learned. I've also had boyfriends who weren't the best matches for me, and I learned. Oh, I think you froze.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Wow, that was weird. All right.
StreamYard did this happened recently on an interview that we did on Facebook instead of a Facebook group.
Yeah, that was definitely weird. That's never happened. I was like, oh my gosh, did the internet go down here? But no, didn't. I don't know what happened.
I think it's something with StreamYard.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll have to make a note if you're listening right now. Hopefully you're not going to hear that space because I'm going to cut it. But for the people watching right now, welcome back. There we go. So yeah, we were just talking about the idea of making that list. I think that's the biggest takeaway for anyone, and be in a relationship, be in finding a mentor, whatever it might be, is put that list down before you talk to the people or interview the people that you're thinking about getting in bed with, being in business and being in a relationship.
100%.
And because you can easily, people can sway you, and you start looking at, okay, well, you know what, meet what I'm looking for. They kind of do. I don't really need that number 7 on the list or number 8 on the list. But if you have that list and you kind of balance it against it, you can't sway a list. It's already written down.
It's so true. And I think it's important to reevaluate that list multiple times too as you're going on, Say you're having challenges in your business or your relationship, and go back to that list and go, okay, is this still what I want? Has this changed? And write that list again and see if it still matches up. Because I think it's a bit naive to think that the business that you're in will always be the right fit for you, as you grow and change. And I was with the company for 6 years, and I knew I was unhappy, and I knew my growth was stunted, and I wasn't admired or appreciated for my skills. I wanted to bring social media into that world, and I wanted to help people build their business that way. And even when I did, the people who wanted it, it was frowned upon. I was met with a lot of resistance. And so I had to accept, okay, I've outgrown this space that I'm in. And how do I bring this to the people that I serve now? Because I don't want to look like I'm a quitter or a failure, or like, I've been preaching this one thing for 6 years and now I'm making a change. What are people going to think? But I had to come from a place of, look, it's time for me to make a change, and here's why. And this doesn't align with how I want to show up anymore. This doesn't align with the lifestyle I want to create. This doesn't align with how I want to help people. And here's what I found now, and this is what I was looking for. Here's what I found, and I'm excited to share this with you because it aligns in these ways. And, if you want to continue on with the last company, that's fine. And if you want to take a look at what I'm doing now and continue to work with me, that's great too. And I just moved people in a different direction, and the people who wanted to come came. Some came later. But I didn't, you take people on that journey, and it's really important. You have to know what you're looking for. And then you also have to be that person. So many people, they write their list of the perfect person, the perfect prospect, the perfect leader, and then they're not being that person, and they wonder why they're not attracting it to them.
What, besides building a list, let's say someone's in high school, someone's in college, and they're trying to figure out who they are or what they're looking to accomplish. What kind of advice do you think you'd give to that person right now?
Oh, well, if there wasn't restrictions, I'd say go travel. Don't sit at home and try to figure it out. Don't be afraid to try a couple of different things and mess it up. One of my good friends, Pat Segro, he's a high ticket coach. And he goes, what I love about you, Johanna? He goes, I love that you're willing to try stuff and you're never afraid to break shit. Like you just will, you put stuff out there, you put offers out there, you try different systems. And I know that nothing's going to be permanent. There's nothing you can really break, and if you don't try it, and I've always been that way. I mean, I left home. I went to school in San Diego for a year. I left San Diego. I went to Europe to be a ski bum. I did life in the mountains. I didn't have a plan for the summer. I met new people. They told me about yachting. So I went down to the south of France. I took a yachting course. I started working with some of the rich and famous people of the world, worked in villas. Like I was open to opportunities and growth. And, in that, I'm not transferring skills from yachting necessarily, but it taught me the power of networking. It opened my mind to how much money there is in the world and that I can have a piece of that pie. It opened my world to, I'm never going to get to this place having the job that I have or the lifestyle that I have right now. I'm going to have to do something different. So it expanded my horizons. I met great people who I still stay in touch with. And then that's when I decided to come back to Canada and go to school. And I went to school for marketing. And again, I had a network, and that's what built my business. And, just one experience leads to the next. If you sit at home trying to figure out that one thing that's going to change your life, you're not going to find it. You're going to get all inside your head.
Be comfortable with yes. I mean, when those opportunities arise, be comfortable with, I was listening to, I think, Warren Buffett the other day, and he was talking about that. He goes, I get opportunities all the time, and it's not like baseball for him. It's not 3 strikes you're out. I get the opportunities, and when I find a good opportunity, I take it. It's not rocket science,
Totally. Again, great reference to dating, until you find that thing, keep your options open.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's the same in business. I have a lot of opportunities come across too. And because I have that list, I know what I'm looking for. I know my brand, my messaging, where I want to take people. I'm not going to get distracted by shiny pennies. But when I see an opportunity that I think is going to help me help them expand my brand, I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
If someone's looking to expand their brand, they're listening right now and they love your story, or looking to follow in your footsteps, what's the best way of them reaching out to you, following you?
Yeah. Best thing to do would be to go over to my blog, because that's what houses everything. It's easy because it's johannahunt.ca. And right on the front page there, you can pick up my free social media guide, join my Facebook group, join the conversation. And there's a welcome video inside the Facebook group that gives you a lowdown of all the different, things that I offer. And then on my blog too, there's work with me. There's different ways to work with me. There's ways to contact. Shoot me a message in Messenger, Facebook. Send me a voice clip, preferably though.
Well, thank you, Johanna, for being on the podcast. Thank you for everyone listening. If you're listening live, then sorry about the little nugget in the middle, but nothing's perfect. But we fought through and we made it as best as possible. I think that's put content out there, put stuff out there.
It's
Thank
awesome.
you for watching. Please subscribe, please share, and of course,